Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm here to bring you guys my 88 goals semi-finals game against A. So, let's go ahead and get straight into the prep. So first and foremost, I did play A once in the regular season. So that I think is very important to note coming into this game, because obviously it's going to form some of our prep, mine and his. Anyways, we have choice band Excalibur, because if you look at his team, the ice resists are Goldango, Urshifu, and Orthworm, all of which are going to take a shit ton from Icicle Crash anyway. And then I will say, perhaps, maybe, I did tunnel vision this one a little bit, but I still think that this has the opportunity to absolutely do some work. So, yeah, we can pretty freely just spam Icicle Crash, especially since Orthworm's going to take its own HP away, Goldango's going to take 50, Urshifu, not good anyway, and then we also can Glaive Rush everything freely anyhow as well. So, next, we got the Alecki, very, very bulky Terra Water Reggie Alecki. Terra Water was chosen to give myself an extra check to Urshifu. Next up, we got AV Muck making its return in this matchup. Muck was clutch in the last round, the last game I played against him, even though it got chipped down pretty quickly, and I ended up losing the first time. It's going to be very clutch. Best check I have to the Hydreigon, the Zoroark, and the Goldango all in one, so AV Muck has to come. Next up, we got Helmet Azumarill. This is for the Urshifu mostly, but it's also going to catch U-turns from Zoroark, Hydreigon, and Tornadus. And it still has some attack to consistently do the damage that it needs to do. And then we have a very bulky SD Garchomp. This is really what we're banking on trying to win the game with. We want to chip everything down, and then we're going to have this bulky Garchomp to try to take hits from everything and get to +2, because it's very fast in this matchup, only outsped by Tornadus and Zoroark, which Zoroark should be dead. Tornadus might not be, but we'll have the very, very high amount of bulk to try to take hits that need to be taken. And then we have our second Assault Vesmont for this matchup, because A does have a ton of special attackers. So Kaparaja making his season debut in the semifinals with Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Brick Break, and Play Rough. This gives me a secondary check / main check to Goldango and Zoroark and Hydreigon. Basically, between this and Muck, hopefully we can do what needs to be done against really the 4 special attackers and his top 6 that are huge threats to my team, but anybody's team, really. And that's sort of the thought process. So, let's go ahead and get to the battle. Okay, everybody, we are here. We are here in the semifinals replay. So, we do see A does bring about everything that I was scared of. No Hydreigon, but doesn't really matter when he still has the other 3 threats. So let's just go ahead and get straight into it. I lead Muck. So the thought process with leading Muck was it's going to check Zoroark if it gets led, and Goldango if that gets led, which I think are both very high possibilities. And it also checks Tornadus if that gets led. So that's sort of the thought process with Muck. I don't know if it was my best lead because it doesn't put any intense pressure on its own, but it's sort of what I went with. So, yeah. And then we immediately see Terra Fairy U-turn, so very confident that that is indeed the normal Tornadus as we see Terra. So, and then we are able to get a knock on the Orthworm. We do see Rocky Helmet though, so Muck already chipped down pretty far, down to 60%. Not a great start for me, if I'm honest. And then I go hard Regieleki, expecting Shedtail, because I want to be able to be prepared in case the Shedtail comes. Instead, it takes 65% from an EQ. Not what we want to see. I switched to Excalibur here, expecting Ting Lu to come in, and that's what happens, which is very nice. And then I get a Brick Break off, because that's a pretty free play for me there, because obviously my opponent probably expecting an Ice move, so I get a Brick Break. It's going to hit both very hard. Very good situation for me. I Brick Break again, Honestly, I wish I went Regieleki probably, or even Garchomp. Yeah, Garchomp would have got a free EQ there. So I wish I went hard Garchomp on that, but that's okay. Kaparaja, even hitting the field in his debut, nice to see, nice to see. We just go straight for Earthquake. Terrible play, as we let the Orthworm get back to a nice healthy amount after really making some good plays to bring it down. So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. No doubt about that. And then we see click Iron Defense as I Brick Break. And Kaparaja is just gone. I don't really have anything I could have went there. Everything would have died or been in a situation where it would have died after. So it is what it is. We go Alecki. And just Thunderbolt. Only thing that's going to kill it from there is what it is. I feel like I kind of have to make that play. Then we just keep going into Baxcalibur here. I decided to go ahead and trade a bunch of my health for a bunch of the Tornadus' health with my Choice Band. So that was a roll. And if I got that roll, I feel like I was in a pretty good situation with the Tornadus dead. Didn't get the roll, which is pretty unfortunate. Yeah, really wanted that roll. Not much more to it. If I got that roll, much better situation than I am right now. I go hard Muck. I'm pretty much just sacking the Muck here to the Orthworm at this point. I'm going to trade some health on it, but like, yeah, essentially I'm sacking the Muck. We go Alecki. We Terra Blast, get the kill on the Orthworm. Orthworm put in a shit ton of work against my team though, and the Ting Lu is still at 100%. We need to chip this immediately. Very pertinent to the game plan. Unfortunately, A does let me hit it, but at this point, it's looking grim. I play rough there. Couldn't tell you what I was expecting, to be honest with you. It was a liquidation for sure. And then he puts a Reflect straight in my mouth. I Aqua Jet there, expecting to die. Wish I liquidationed again. Doesn't really matter though. Obviously, this Goldango is just absolutely munching. Fortunately, we have Garchomp here, so I'm gonna SD, run out the Reflect, and then EQ it. Does show to be Shuka. Pretty unfortunate. It's gonna get a lot more chip on me than I would have liked, for sure. But we're gonna EQ and kill the Goldango. Go back up. To this point, game's not going how I would have liked. Orthworm was a major problem in the early game for me. I let it chip down my Regieleki immediately, and then with Iron Defense, I didn't have good switch-ins, so Kaparaja had to go. Really, the game is not going as ideally as I would like. Obviously, I tried to make that, tried to get that roll with the Baxcalibur on the Tornadus since I was already falling behind, so I went for the roll on the Tornadus. Didn't get it, and at this point, I'm pretty far behind. It's very, very unlikely. Baxcalibur is going to get sacked, and then I have to go Alecki to outspeed it. I hit Terra Blast. I don't even get the 2-co here on Ting Lu, because Ting Lu's broken. It's not broken. It's actually, I think it's kind of ass. But Ting Lu is very bulky, so Regieleki cannot do it there. And then I just EQ that guy. And at this point, game's over. Gonna bring out the Tornadus, Terra Blast me. In my opinion, what went on with that game is Orthworm just really derailed me in the early game. I think Orthworm with Shedtail allowed. It's kind of rough because you have to play as if Shedtail's coming, but if Shedtail doesn't come, you kind of end up with situations like what happened to me, where you just get burnt trying to cover for the Shedtail. And then additionally, like, my team just was pretty bad in the Orthworm set that he brought, which is also my fault. And then I also just didn't get that roll in the Torn. Could have changed how the game went for sure. Although, with 200% Zoroarks, with the Zoroark and Urshifu in the back at 100%, highly unlikely I could have won the game. Even if I did get the roll, the Orthworm just put in too much work early for me. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching the video. Like it if you like it. And subscribe for more. See you guys next time. Peace.